even where the ministry has not prepared a response, because I have no problem answering the question, but we move from a road to the...
What has been happening, CS, is like the guideline is members should really stick to that particular question, but one or two questions really is not a bad thing, just to give guidance, and also because we can't really restrict the members to stick on Kajiado Road, on one road.
No, I'm just saying, yes, I agree.
Just a few, one or two, you can
I
give
agree,
guidance.
Mr. Speaker.
If you are not really still, you can say you will do your homework and then report back.
No, not really. I just wanted to, it would have been more appropriate to respond to Senator Sifuna's question under the other question on Kakamega airstrip. It would have been more relevant than under this. But nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, the airport dropping areas are determined by security plans within the airport. I've just landed at the JKI this morning, Mr. Speaker, and like many other passengers, ourselves, the President, were dropped far away from the terminal, and we had to walk through the rain with umbrellas to the terminal itself. Mr. Speaker, this is nothing just changes because of the rain. The plans are already in place for where an aeroplane is designated, where they park. Mr. Speaker, the ones that are able to use the ladder, there's a name for it. Mr. Speaker, that helps enter the airport directly are helped to do so. But Mr. Speaker, in the long run, as I have said before, our JKIA infrastructure is a bit constrained to accommodate all the airlines and to accommodate all the parking that we require. And that's an issue that is in regard to building a new terminal, Mr. Speaker, that I've said over and over again. We are in the process of working on the a new PPP model of a new terminal that we should be advertising on 15th of January. And hopefully, Mr. Speaker, by June, we get the relevant contractor so that in the next 3 years, we have a complete new airport. That, Mr. Speaker, I promised when I was being vetted to come to office that I was going to resolve first the dispute that was there between a Chinese company, Katik, and KAA, whose contract was terminated in 2015. Unfortunately, when we should have built a new terminal, Mr. Speaker, I report to the country that in record time we have resolved that dispute and saved the country the claims that they were making of 25 billion shillings. Now the greenfield is free and open and vacant for us to advertise for a new PPP contractor to build a new terminal. I shall be saying more later, Mr. Speaker, when I respond to the question of Senator Kalwale on the Kakamega airstrip. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, CS. Senator Tobiko, on this question 047, do you have any supplementary question? At least one, because you have the next question is also from you, 048.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to make a follow-up on the supplementary question that Senator Seki had asked on the Isara Mashuru Kajiado Road, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I needed maybe the CS to understand, because I'm sure he's responding, of course, with the data he's being given from the ministry, and we are the users of this road, so I just want to, to give the CS a better picture of that road. Mr. Speaker, this road, although the entire road was meant to be low volume, the part from Kajiado to Imaroro was done by Kenha. Then the other part from Imaroro to Isara was done by Kera. Now, Mr. CS, this is where you'll see the difference in workmanship of different government agencies. The part that was done by Kenha from Kajiado to Maroro is good, although it's low volume, and being used by the same lorries, heavy trucks, sand harvesting trucks. But the part from Imaroro to Isara, which was done by Kera, this is where we have problems. This is where we have bumps missing at strategic places, like towards bridges and all that. And this is also where we have all the potholes now. So when you see both sides of the road, although the road is meant to be all low volume, you can see the workmanship by Kera was terribly poor. The one by Kenha was fairly well done. So, Mr. CS, the part that was done by Kera
Senator
really,
Tobiko,
really needs
kindly
to
be
be
specific.
Yes.
Be specific to your supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I'm very specific that the part that was done by Kera from Imaroro to Isara is in terrible condition. It has potholes, it's causing accidents, and really this is where we need the ministry to immediately come in, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. And then I had another question.
I think that's a similar question Senator Sekian asked, but just 1 minute on that stretch of the dilapidated road.
It's not true that, it's not true as the senator said that Kena did part of the road. No, it was Kera. Both of it is Kera. But the difference, Mr. Speaker, is that the road to Imaroro is by Kera, but annuity program. Annuity program is the one where we were signing up with a private investor to construct, maintain, and at a very exorbitant prices and cost that since I came to office, I've terminated that program because it was exploitative and the cost. We will discuss that in other times, Mr. Speaker. But the second part now was done under low volume. That makes the two difference. The difference is that the other one is under annuity, the second part is under low volume. And the rest of the answer that goes with low volume, I already put it unanswered. I don't know whether the senator was already in, but in a nutshell, is to just say that the low volume also seal program has caused us problems across the country. You have roads that before they are complete, they also have potholes. And again, we have decided that we will not continue with low volume seal. Even for the ongoing roads, we'll try to make sure that we do it to the standard level to avoid the situation we are in. And we promised, Honorable Senator, that we shall be able to attend to that road as part of our maintenance responsibilities. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Tobiko, kindly ask the next question, 048.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe the next question was 048. This is the question about the Isinya Konza Road, which we needed to know, Mr. Speaker, if there are plans to upgrade the Isinya Konza Road to bitumen standards, and if so, for the minister to indicate the projected timelines for the same.
Yes.
Following on your directions, Mr. Speaker, I'll just be brief to say that road is extremely important. It is strategic. Konza Technopolis is Silicon Savannah, and it's very important for us to make sure that we support the infrastructure around it. Mr. Speaker, I was part of a delegation with the president that went to Korea late last year, and part of the roads we submitted for possible consideration in terms of financial support from the Korean administration or government is this road. And therefore, I want to assure you, Honorable Senator Tobiko, that yes, the ministry through Kena has plans to upgrade the Isinya Konza Road to bitumen standards and has completed the design and tender documents are ready. The timelines for works will only be set upon us finding the funds. And I can assure you that we are working on it. If I had the time, I'll tell you the humongous responsibility we have first to complete the pending roads before we come to this. That is why, because we cannot finance this under GOK funding, the only way is to work with development partners. And Korea government is one of those development partners we're trying to work with to support this road. And thank you.
So, Honorable Senators, I want to give further guidance that once we read the question by the senator and the CS response, I want to get specific supplementary question from the senator and then we move to the next question. I want to spare 40 minutes at the end of this session so that now I open up to senators to ask any other issues that you might be having. So that we can save time and track the real supplementary questions, I want now Senator Tobiko to ask you a specific supplementary question on this specific road.
Mr. Speaker, you know, it's a bit difficult to be on that specific road because, as the CS has said, they're waiting for funds. But, Speaker, allow us to, make connected, supplementary questions, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the CS that on this floor, I have lamented and I have brought the cry of the people of Kajiado, or specifically on the issue of, raising a number of our roads to bitumen standards, particularly that Isinya Konza Road, because as you say, it's connected to the Konza Technopolis, which is the city of the future, and Kajiado wants to get connected to that city. Mr. Speaker, but I want to give the CS the scenario in Kajiado. Mr. CS, the Mombasa Road, right from Namanga Junction, as you go towards Machakos Junction, at KMC, there is a road that has been raised to bitumen standards going to Kinanie, the Machakos side. The Kajiado side, there is nothing. Mr. CS, before you reach Machakos Junction, there is another road towards Moa Hills, going to Sonko Home and those environs. On the Kajiado side, there is no road. But to Kambani, there is a tarmac that has been raised just recently. Mr. CS, of course, there is at Machakos Junction, there is a road going to Machakos headquarters and town. No road on the Machakos side. After the Machakos Junction, before you reach Konza Junction, there is a new road. I don't know what it's called. Senator Kavintu can tell us. There is a new road done, bitumen standard, towards Ukambani side. On the same breath, on the Kajiado side, nothing. Konza Junction, there is a road going towards Machakos Junction. The one we want you to connect to Kajiado now. On the Kajiado side, nothing. Then reaching Salama, there is a road going to Wote, tarmac. On the Kajiado side, nothing. Mr. CS, Kajiado has voted for this government. Kajiado has voted for this government. And Mr. CS, this is the government of William Samoei Ruto is the only one that can rescue the Kajiado people so that we are also considered as Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, I want the CS to get our picture because it's painful. Even electricity, it's only on the Ukambani side. On the Kajiado side, they think maybe we want electricity for cows, but we need for human beings, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please, Kajiado needs development. And I'm really praying that the CS will get, and I'm the vice chair of the Transport Committee, the Roads and Transport Committee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I hope the CS is getting the pain that I'm carrying for the people of Kajiado, because it's real. And we feel like we have been left out. Thank you.
Senator Tobiko, I also want to understand, do you mean the road is continuous from the Ukambani side, it closes the tarmac, and then the other side is continuous?
There is a point of order from Senator Agnes Kavindu.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell a senator that most of these roads she has mentioned are not made by the ministry, but by the county government of Machakos. So yes, like the Mua Road was done by county government of Machakos, and that particular road you're talking about, it goes to this church of one of the prominent businessmen in Machakos. He did it personally. So most of these roads are made by the county government. They are not roads for the ministry. So maybe your account is sleeping on this.
Senator Agnes Kavin, that was a point of information, not a point of order. So, CS.
Mr. Speaker, while I agree with Senator Tobiko that a number of roads have been done in Machakos County on the left side of the Mombasa Road as you go to Mombasa. And I disagree with Senator, my friend Kavindu, that done by county, it was actually done by us, the national government. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. We don't do roads in County A because it has been done in County B. Mr. Speaker, Kajiado does not deserve roads because Machakos has been done. Kajiado deserves roads because they have a right to have roads, not in comparison to Machakos. And that's where I disagree with Senator Tobiko, because it is not Machakos versus Kajiado. The entity that is supposed to develop our country and the ministry that I preside over should be able to look at the needs of every county and respond to those needs independent of what's happening in another county, so that it's not pitting one county as against the other. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't mean that there is no work going on with Kajiado County. Kajiado County is one of the biggest in the country, very, very vast county. That is why even if you do 200 kilometers, they don't feel it. Because, Mr. Speaker, the county is big. A lot of work needs to be done. I want to report to the Senator that there's the road also of Isiara, Imaroro, Kajiado, up to Kiseri and Ngong, is parallel to the Mombasa Road. But our job is to make sure that we connect the remaining connectors on this parallel road, including the one you have raised. But also to report to you that the road of Ilasit Jukini, that is connecting Taita Taveta and Kajiado County, is under now negotiation to move it from the annuity program that was and deliver it under a different format, which is in this case EPC. And I want to try my best to ensure that we get the contract on site by March. I am undertaking personal commitment and negotiation as a CS with the relevant agencies to make sure that that conversion happens, so that we save the country a lot of money from the annuity program that I told you earlier, but deliver that road hopefully by making sure that the contractor is on site by March. So last thing is that I know for sure Kajiado County voted for the government of the day. But as a cabinet secretary, I serve everybody. I serve for those who have been voted for, and I serve also those who did not vote for the government of the day, because my responsibility to serve everybody equally. So Kajiado deserves roads for being Kajiado, not for voting for the president, and not also because Machakos have got roads.
Thank you. Because this matter is touching on Kajiado, let me allow the Kajiado Senator to ask a supplementary question.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I also want to thank the Cabinet Secretary, particularly on the Ilasit Njukini Road, which has also given a commitment of March next year. I look forward to see successful. I go straight to the question, a supplementary question in regards to the connection of Irongai, Twala, Kitengela Road, CS. Is there any plans and within the ministry and government to do that road, and particularly also on the issue of a 65 road, Kajiado North roads that are yet to be completed? Please just do a commitment on the same, because it's something that you really understand. You may not need to go back to the office. The Kajiado North 65 kilometers road that has yet to be connected along the Kajiado North, and the connection between Rongai to Kitengela Road. Please, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
Honorable CS.
The bypass from Kitengela to Rongai is about 24 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, it's on the design stage. At the moment, we are the same fate, that we want to design and see how to raise the funds. Initially, we've been thinking, in the past we thought maybe we should do a PPP from this junction at Galeria, a ring road up to Karen via Kiserian, Rongai, Kiserian, Kajiado to the corner here. Those plans are still being thought through, and whether it is economically viable to deliver it through PPP. The junction you're talking about, the link straight from Rongai to Kiserian, is something that we are working on, designs, and hopefully we can raise the funds to do so, to make sure that we deliver. I think, Mr. Speaker, I had a meeting with all the leaders of Kajiado County, and a number of the proposals, including the senator, including Senator Tobiko, and the other elected leaders, and there are a number of roads we discussed how to go about it to deliver. I believe that let's first sort of the problem that is the elephant in the room is the pending roads. Once we deal with the pending bills, we'll see what to do. We are only able to do new roads if we have the support of development partners. But the country as it stands now, there is a huge pending bill of 155 billion. And there is another problem, which is committed roads that are about 700 billion that we should be able to deliver. We ought to deliver against a budget annually of about 50 billion. So we have a challenge we are facing as a ministry, but we are doing everything to ensure that we deliver the roads that are pending and see what to do with the new ones that are being designed.
Thank you. So we go to the next question, number 030, Senator Mwenda Gataya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am seeking to know from CS Rons, who also happens to be very conversant with the Tharaka Nithi County. We have this project. This is RWC 150D 474 for the construction of Kayododi, Eriga Chogoria, Wero Mutindwa, Keriani, Marima Road in Tharaka Nithi County, which is stalled since its launch in 2016. So, Honorable Waziri, what measures is the government taking to ensure the completion of the project, and could the Cabinet Secretary provide a timeline for the same? See, what is stopgap measures is the government taking to ensure that the roads remain motorable in all seasons, particularly in Kitombani, Mutindwa, Kantaraki, Kajododi, Keriani, and the Marima areas.
Thank you.
I have a supplementary question, Honorable Speaker. I don't know whether...
Before the answer is given to you.
Thank you.
Honorable CS.
I thought maybe you could answer.
Mr. Speaker, if you may allow me, Mr. Speaker, first of all, I agree with the Senator of Tharaka Nithi, my friend Mofire. I have visited that road and his village when he was the MC of the area, and at that point I was serving in this house. Mr. Speaker, if you may allow me to use that opportunity to just give a global picture of what's happening. We have a pending bill, Mr. Speaker, of 155 billion. 155. That is work already done by contractors across the country. That includes 45 billion for acquisition of land and 105 billion shillings for payment of work done already by contractors. We have a commitment of the final auditing is being done of 700 billion shillings, over 700 billion, to complete these roads eventually. Mr. Speaker, we also have the challenge of, for every pending bill, it is accruing interest and other charges, Mr. Speaker, as we progress. So the total cost of the pending bill eventually cannot be determined now because it's a moving target, including claims on equipment, claims on so many things. Mr. Speaker, this is a humongous issue. The President has established a pending bill committee that is trying to look at these roads. Mr. Speaker, because also I know senators across here, and even if members of National Assembly were here, they are going to ask the next question, is that some roads have been pending like the one of Tharaka Nithi from 2016. Mr. Speaker, some of those roads, if you allow me to just give me 1 minute to read that, Mr. Speaker, we have a problem across the country. Roads like the one in Meru, Mr. Speaker, in the Gembe region, where it was awarded, a road was awarded, Mr. Speaker, in 2016 in Maua, Atiru, Kilili to National Park. That links again to Tharaka Nithi for that matter, 2016. It is incomplete. It's less than 30% done. A road in Makweni, Mr. Speaker, that is Kali, Kikima, all the way to Kikima, Utangwa Township. Again, that is a road, Mr. Speaker, that is still pending from 2020. You have roads like Mara Chuka, which, Mr. Speaker, have been pending from 2018. You have roads in Kitui, Mr. Speaker, that have been pending from 2017. You have a road in Mandera that has been pending, Mr. Speaker. This one is even a challenge, 2018. West Pokot County, Kapsait, Kapsangar, Tapaj, Mr. Speaker, has been pending from 2019. You have Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, that has been pending from 2017. You have some roads in Elgeyo Marakwet again like that, Mr. Speaker. You have roads, Mr. Speaker, I said this one for Nandi of Timboroa has been pending from 2017. So why am I saying this? It's because, Mr. Speaker, when I visit around the country, most of the leaders, including senators, would create an impression that a road is pending only in his village or is in the county. This is a national phenomenon, an inherited problem. The road, for example, this one of Tharaka Nithi, Mr. Speaker, I wish to acknowledge that the Kaji Uduthi Irika Chogoria Meru Mutindwa Kiriaini Marima Road, Mr. Speaker, was awarded in 2016 and has stalled since 2021 following the withdrawal of the contractor's assignee citing non-payment of certificates. The 23-kilometer road project was awarded to Ms. Dawn Woods Company Limited in November 2016 at a sum of 978 million shillings, 662,957 for construction of works and 106,000 for maintenance of works. 106 million, sorry, 648,784 for maintenance works. The contract period was months within the initial date of completion, was 24 months with the initial date of completion being 21st November 2018. Mr. Speaker, however, the contractor only achieved 10.3%, which translates to 2.3 kilometers of tarmac, having faced a significant constraint in completing the project. The contractor currently sought leave to assign the project to Ms. China GMC International Limited, which was granted to allow completion of the project. The assignment commenced on 2nd September 2019 for a period of 2 months, revised the project completion to 1st May 2021. Following the assignment, additional milestone was achieved. The project amounting to 6 kilometers of tarmac, bringing the cumulative achievement to 9.32 kilometers. Unfortunately, the assignee suspended works at the project on 27th of November 2021 due to pending bill of 121,906,886.08. The achievement to date therefore remains 9.32, which is at the 7% aggregated progress. So far, Ministry through care has since paid a portion of the amount owed to his MS China GFC International Limited, amounting to 38,209,100. This revises the pending amount due to contractor to 89,769,822. The Minister has advised the contractor to resume works and ensure completion of the project as arrangements are put in place to settle the outstanding bill in the next financial year. We therefore envisage completion of the project by June 30, 2024, subject to adequate budgetary provision and sustained disbursements. Upon resumption of works, the contractor is under instruction to prioritize and undertake maintenance of the entire remaining sections of the road ahead of the main works to ensure motorability and usage of the roads. So, Mr. Speaker, that is the standing with Ms. Jiangxi, Mr. Speaker, under instruction from us that once he resumes work. Mr. Speaker, I want to beg an understanding from the leaders. Some of these contractors we have to literally negotiate. You negotiate and tell them, yes, we owe you 100 million, but take the 30 million, go to site. And some of them graciously have done so. And I have no shame to say most of the Chinese contractors have spent a huge portion of their money sustaining their presence on the ground. Partly because they have good support from their country, perhaps how they access credit is a bit better. Our contractors, local ones, are really struggling, Mr. Speaker, because of the burden that comes with a pending bill, especially if they are borrowed from our commercial banks with the interest rates that are double digits, sometimes going up to almost 20%. Mr. Speaker, I will endeavor, and I assure the Senator that the negotiations that are ongoing, I'll work hard to make sure that this contractor comes on site. And Mr. Speaker, I want to also request the senators, because I've seen some senators complaining. If some of these works are being undertaken by the Chinese contractors, you should be grateful that they have capacity to be sustained. But some people here, Mr. Speaker, are very uncomfortable with having a foreign contractor not understanding the dynamics that, Mr. Speaker, we have to go through to make sure that those contractors are delivering for the people, because we look at the road itself. In fact, to the contrary, Mr. Speaker, locals, when you give a local contractor now, you find a situation where the locals are saying we want the other foreign contractor to do it first. It is not because all our local contractors are incompetent. It's just because access to credit and the huge pending bill has made the local contractors struggle with delivering this road, Mr. Speaker. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Gatoya, can you ask your supplementary?
Honorable Speaker, I have a subsidiary question that one of my constituencies in the Tharaka County has been politically been neglected in terms of Honorable Speaker, I think I need your protection. There's a lot of loud consultations all over.
Senator Duro, kindly, Senator Mofa is unable to concentrate.
So, Honorable Speaker, one of my constituencies has suffered some historical injustices in terms of road network, and that constituency is the Tharaka constituency. I have 3 constituencies in my county, which is Mara constituency, Chukabangombe constituency, and Tharaka constituency. Tharaka constituency, Honorable Speaker, has for a long period of time suffered some historical injustices in terms of road network. I don't know what logic is there that a road is constructed from my neighboring county. When it reaches the border to the Tharaka constituency, that road ends there. There is one example of that road which originates from Meru County to some part of the Tharaka constituency, a place called Miomponi, and that road is stopped there. There is another road, Honorable Speaker, which originates from Maua, bitumen standard, up to Atidini. That road, when it reaches Tharaka constituency, that road stops there. The only road which has been, which has Tharaka constituency unseen, is the road from Gatonga to Chakariga, which has also stoned. That road was launched, I think, 2014. Up to now, that road is not even motorable. So Tharaka constituency, Honorable Speaker, I think I would request to know from Honorable Minister, why has Tharaka suffered those historical injustices in terms of road network for the last 60 years down the line? And what plans does the ministry have to make sure that the roads that are heading, just at the exact bond of the Tharaka constituency, extends to those areas that need those bitumen standards? There is that Miompon Road, which is supposed to connect Mukodhima all the way to Gachiongo. It's supposed to go all the way to Nkondi, to Marimant, and join the Tharaka University. There is also that road which is supposed to come from Gatidini all the way to Gachiongo, to Mukodhima, and join the other road which is supposed to join the Tharaka University. What measures is the ministry trying to put in place to make sure that the Tharaka constituency enjoys the very best road network, just like any other constituency in this country.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, while I may not have an answer as to why Tharaka Nithi County has been marginalized in the past, and Mr. Speaker, I've seen some people being very jittery when I attribute historical problems like the ones the Senate has done to past governments. I see people being very jittery. That's a fact. It's a fact that Tharaka Nithi County has been marginalized. That is uncontestable fact. But we do not come, Senator of Isiolo, Mr. Speaker, is saying, and also Isiolo, there are a number of places in the country, including the northern part of the country, that have really zero tarmac road network. But it is not my responsibility to write the book of lamentations. We came to office so that we can solve problems. And so one of the problems we have is to see how can we make sure that every part of this country, at least everybody tastes some level of development for equitable distribution of this infrastructure. The same way Senator Tobiko raised about Kajiado is the same way the Senator of Tharaka Nithi is asking. But there are plans underway to tarmac Miamponi, Mukodhima, Gatunga, up to Tharaka Road. Mr. Speaker, we are also alive to the fact that I was here with Professor Kindiki, my teacher, the CS Interior, when we went to see the road of Chakarika Marimanti, which is still pending from 2014. And a number of those roads, I promise you, Senator, that in this program that we are trying to resolve the pending bills, will make sure that your county the marginalization of your county is addressed. The other thing I want to give the country, there are so many people who are disillusioned because of the state of infrastructure pending from 2014, 2015, 2016 up to now. I want to give them the word of assurance. The government of President William Ruto and the Ministry of Transport and Roads and Transport under my watch is doing everything possible, working with our development partners. You've seen the progress we've made, especially with the support we are receiving from the multilateral agencies, World Bank and IMF, that you saw this week. The president has sent me to also talk to Chinese government, and I've been there 3 times. Mr. Speaker, I have acquired the notoriety of being sort of closer to the Chinese administration because a greater portion of these roads are being delivered by contractors from China. There's a program we're working together. This program, Mr. Speaker, should give us hope that in the next 2 or 3 months, most of these roads should be able to, we should be able to resume most of these roads. And I can assure most of the senators here that by the time you go to the next election, we will have done significant progress in terms of sorting out the pending roads across the country. I'm working very hard, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, infrastructure projects are not like instant coffee, where you brew it at a press of a button. You have to really work hard to plan, strategize, negotiate financial support. You've seen the president traveling out of the country on and off. The Speaker, let me say this. I went with the president this weekend to Europe, and for 3 nights that we were out of the country, we slept in the plane 2 nights. So there's only 1 night we slept in Europe. And the negotiations we were making, Mr. Speaker, is massive on matters infrastructure, and you will be seeing the results. So because these things require careful planning, one philosopher said that it's better to take 1 year planning and deliver in 6 months than to try to do things quickly in 3 months and fail to deliver. Mr. Speaker, we shall deliver.
Thank you. And also maybe you have informed Senator Mofaya that it is not Meru which has marginalized Tharaka, but the previous governments.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, it's right. The same way I told Senator Tobiko that the absence of roads in Kajiado has nothing completely with leadership or the people of Machakos, it's the same way I'll say that Tharaka Nithi County's marginalization has absolutely nothing, Mr. Speaker, to do with you specifically and to the people of Meru and the leadership of Meru. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, CS. Let's get the next question from Senator Murango. Now, Senator Matinga, you are representing your colleague.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm holding brief for Senator Murango, who's attending an opening ceremony in his county. Mr. Speaker, I would want the CS to tell us what corporate social responsibility activities have been done for the local communities by the contractors undertaking road construction projects in Kirinyaga County, and B, could the contractors, through the Ministry of Education, consider making infrastructural improvements in at least one public primary and secondary school in the project area as part of their CSR? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, we are doing so well. The next 10 minutes, I'll open the floor up to 11:30 for senators to ask any supplementary question, just general. CS, this is a very direct one again. And spend 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, first I want to thank Senator Murango because he was part of the team of Kirinyaga County leaders who came to my office on 2nd of August, and we had an extensive discussion about all the roads that are being delivered in his county and the CSR programs and the possible CSR program we are going to undertake. Mr. Speaker, I wish to clarify that in any undertaking of CSR or corporate social responsibility is purely voluntary, and there is currently no contractual obligation on the contractors to carry out CSR. Nonetheless, we confirm that several CSR initiatives have been undertaken in Kirinyaga County by respective contractors at projects supervised by the ministry's agencies. The details of their 4 stated initiatives are captured in the table below. The Speaker, for the Stakeholder Corporation, which is constructing the road of Njegas, Mutito, Gatwe, Kangaita, Kiagi, Kianjege, Mukinduri roads, the following are the CSR programs: leveling of Gatwe Primary School playfield, leveling of the Kiburi Primary School playfield, leveling of Kiriandundu Primary School playfield. In the Jiangxi Water and Hydropower Construction Company, which is doing Kerugoya, Kiandire, Kitumbi, all the Kangaita, Baricho, Njekas, Garu, Kagaiko, all the way to Mukinduri roads. There is the construction of modern washroom at Ngaru Primary School, construction of a basketball pitch at Ngaru Girls Secondary School, leveling of the Ngaru Secondary School playfield, and leveling of Kiranja Secondary School playing field. China Wuyi, which is doing the highway, that's Mutiti, Kakio, Baricho, Getuya, Kagumo, all the way to Karira Mission Hospital, Ngurubaini roads. Mr. Speaker, I've done the construction of a dormitory at the Ngaru Girls Secondary School. I reaffirm that due to consideration was made of primary and secondary schools infrastructure needs in the project areas following consultation with the stakeholders. The contractors have since completed the listed projects and handed them over to the respective institutions. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Matinga, are you versed with those locations? Or
Mr. Speaker, sir, coming from a neighboring county from Kirinyaga, this is my second home, so I'm quite conversant with that.
So do you have any supplementary question?
Well, I'll on that one, I'll skip on that one, and then I'll go to the next question.
Okay.
Then after which I think then I can put one supplementary question.
Number 060.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. May the CS tell us why has the project of the upgrading to bitumen standard of Muriro, Rumandi, Goshe, Mahigaine, Nyamindi, Kianungu, Kiaumbu Road in Mwea constituency in Kirinyaga County not commenced despite the award of the contract? B, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the status of contract for the construction of the said project considering the delay in its execution? And C, what measures is the government taking to ensure the commencement of the project, and could the Cabinet Secretary provide a timeline for its completion?
The Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to state that the project for upgrading to bitumen standards of Sagana, Kadhaka, Diguku, Mururi, Mikaini, Nyamindi, Kimbuini, KTI, all the way to Wangaita roads, Mr. Speaker, has commenced. However, the project has registered slower progress than anticipated, arising from several challenges, including financial constraints facing the contractor and adverse weather at some sections of the project. Given the factors mentioned above, the project has so far achieved approximately 10% progress to date, translating to 5 kilometers being completed to bitumen standards, which is one milestone, and a second milestone underway with works currently ongoing on site. To facilitate its completion, the government has provided a budget line of Kenya shillings 240 million this financial year towards this project. To date, the project has been funded to the tune of 140 million shillings, which was utilized to pay the bulk of the contractor's outstanding dues, and the contractor has since fully resumed operations and is on site. The contractual completion date for the construction phase of the project is 16 July 2024. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Matinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and the CS for that comprehensive answer. I'll ask one supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, there is a law that will carriage that transverses Muranga, Kirinyaga County, and Nyeri County. The CS has addressed the issue of the compensation of the people who have been affected. Could the CS please give us an indicative timeline within which the affected people will be compensated, because we've been promising them every end of month it will be done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
CS.
Mr. Speaker, on the compensation, I think I will follow up with KENA, the relevant agency, Mr. Speaker, as to how many people have been documented to be compensated. These are the roads that form the network of the Mau Mau roads. And Mr. Speaker, in some of the area, most of the roads were actually passing through existing road network. A few places where there was a compensation issue. I remember, if I can do it off-air, because it's a supplementary question, we had an extensive discussion with the board leaders of Nyeri and Kirinyaga on question of compensation. So I think it's for us to follow up to see how far we can go to make sure that this compensation. But the good story there is that these are people who accepted to the road to progress without really erecting roadblocks. That is the same, I had seen Senator Wambua here, the same situation happened in Senator Wambua's county, where in Kitui, where a number of places citizens give in as you work on the compensation, and I will follow up to make sure that compensation will be prompt and adequate. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honour CS. The next question and last one is from Senator Boni Kalwale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Question number 065 for the record purposes.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, sir, could the Cabinet Secretary confirm that following the presidential directive to upgrade the Kakamega airstrip to an international airport, the leadership of Kakamega County undertook public participation, obtained consent to relocate residents from their earmarked land, and conducted survey and valuation of the land for purposes of compensation? And two, what steps is the national government taking to execute the presidential directive?
Are they two or they are, is that all? Okay. CS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to appraise this House on the information sought regarding the status of the upgrading of Kakamega airstrip to an international airport as requested by Senator Boni Kalwale and as communicated in the letter to my office. Mr. Speaker, the Kenya Airports Authority received an invitation dated 10th August 2023 from County Government of Kakamega requesting for technical assistance in planning and the proposed expansion of the airstrip. Subsequently, a team comprising of the representative of KAA, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, National Land Commission, and County Government of Kakamega carried out an inspection of Kakamega airstrip on 18th and 19th of October 2023 to assess the proposed upgrade of Kakamega airstrip. Honorable Speaker, I wish to inform the House that the Senate that the Kakamega airstrip was initially designed for DHC-6 aircraft, which capacity of 13 passengers as the critical aircraft, and was to be upgraded to accommodate Fokker 50 aircraft to 60-seater. The biggest aircraft currently operating at the airstrip is Dash 8 Q100. Mr. Speaker, and I launched this service from Wilson to by Skyward Limited from Wilson to Kakamega early this year with a 37 passenger seat capacity. Based on the design, aircraft and considering the topographical and environmental constraint, planning studies conducted by the authority indicate that the runway can only be extended up to a maximum of 1,400 meters. Ultimately, in the future, traffic may necessitate bigger aircraft requiring a longer runway. Then the airport relocation will have to be considered. Mr. Speaker, the proposed upgrading of the airstrip would require acquisition of approximately 20 hectares of land. This is to allow development of critical facilities as well as comply with the International Civil Aviation Organization recommended standards in terms of critical separation and obstacle limitation requirement. During the site visit at Kakamega airstrip, the county government of Kakamega appraised the team from KA and KCA on the survey and evaluation of the parcels of the land affected by the proposed airstrip expansion. However, the evaluation of the affected parcel of land has to be verified by the National Land Commission in accordance with the Lands Act 2012 and the National Land Commission Act number 6 of 2012. Further, the authority will undertake the environmental and social impact assessment and resettlement action plan for the airport expansion. Let me just say, the technical report talks about 20 acres, but I don't think, Mr. Speaker, we need the 20 hectares per se to extend to the 200 meters. And so I have had a conversation with my team that it is possible to achieve 200 meters fast, even before we're acquiring the full 20 hectares. So I have asked them to go back and check what the limited number of acres we need specifically to fast extend to 1,400 meters, so that then it can accommodate slightly bigger planes of about 60 to 70 capacity. Honorable Speaker, a multi-agency team comprising of Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, Kenya Airports Authority, and Kenya Meteorological Department proposes to undertake an aeronautical study to assess the suitability and potential impacts of the proposed extension of the runway to 1.4 kilometers, and in addition evaluate the possibility of relocating Kakamega airstrip to Shikuza as proposed by the county government of Kakamega. However, again, as I consulted my team, Shikuza is government land under the Ministry of Forestry, Mr. Speaker. And you know, to acquire it will require a big process, including excising that property, that land, that will require parliamentary approval before we can be able to do so. I thank you.
Senator Bona has been very, very attentive.
Yes.
And on two eyes. So, what is your supplementary question, Senator Mboni Karwar?
Mr. Speaker, I'm lost. I'm lost because the minister has come to this house with a casual answer, describing stories of aircrafts, size of aircrafts and things, which has nothing to do, Mr. Speaker, with the question that I raised. This casual answer, Minister, you know, you and I, we enjoy leadership positions in this government. We can talk to each other here and talk to each other behind the tent and talk to each other in our private offices as we do. The purpose of this question, Minister, is for us now to bring it in the open to the public in Kakamega to know the progress of this project. The seriousness, Minister, is that 611,000 people voted for President William Ruto, against 955,000 for Raila Odinga. There was work that was done. And now, when you treat us casually like this, you know that on 8th of December 2022, the president came
Senator
to Kakamega.
Boni, can you be very specific on your question?
Mr. Speaker, sir, because he was casual.
You know the history of the voting and what happened?
Yeah, I've left out history of
Just
voting.
go specific.
Your indulgence.
What you need to be addressed.
Mr. Speaker, your indulgence, please. If I don't do this, I'll lose this House, I'll lose the public. Mr. Speaker, on 8th of December 2022, the president came into Kakamega and launched this project, and alongside it, commercial aircrafts, which have been ongoing. He came again, Mr. Speaker, on 18th of June this year, and announced the construction of an apron at 50 million shillings. The minister knows. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, on 25th of August, the president stayed in the county for 5 days, and this was the project. So I was expecting the minister was coming here to tell us only two things. When is the payment for residents going to commence? Because from that time last year, they stopped doing end development. They know they are moving out. And two, to tell us when is the construction starting. That is called, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Pertinent questions, and I think they are very indirect.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I feel extremely offended that this is how we are treating the public that gives us the same money that we use to develop projects.
You wait for the answer, Senator Boni, and then you can maybe react later on.
The Speaker, Mr. Speaker, of course, I have maximum respect for the Senator Halwale, not just because we serve together in this chamber, but because he is at the top leadership of this administration. Mr. Speaker, I have given the answer, and that is the answer. The answer being, Mr. Speaker, that first, we can't go beyond 1.4 kilometers. The international standards that are observed for establishment of an airport, Mr. Speaker, tells us that in terms of the approach to that runway, we can only accommodate 1.4 kilometers. And to do so, Mr. Speaker, we must acquire land. I spoke to Governor Barasa this morning on the same issue, Mr. Speaker, because Senator Kalwale knows one thing, that in the said meeting, the county government offered to acquire the land. And Mr. Speaker, that is why there was a meeting between KAA, KCA, and county government. The answer is very clear. It says, Mr. Speaker, that the acquisition of land can only be achieved under the law through the National Land Commission. Mr. Speaker, the answer is also very clear, that to achieve an international standard, a different place must be sought to establish an international airport. An international airport, Mr. Speaker, cannot be built in the location where we have, and with the expansion that is needed, it would require billions of money to even try to move people. Mr. Speaker, that is our government, Honorable Kalwale. That is the situation we found ourselves. It requires, you were in the meeting. You were in the meeting, Mr. Speaker, and the answer of, Mr. Speaker, 400 million was required in the discussion in the meeting for purpose of, Mr. Speaker, expanding. The county government said that to acquire that land, they need 400 million from KAA and the national government. The president made it clear that the support would be needed, Mr. Speaker, for purpose of expanding that land from a partnership with county government. So, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable CS cannot come to the chambers and August House, a very respectable house, and give an answer that is outside the technical advice that comes with the specification of what an airport looks like, Mr. Speaker. But I appreciate the passion that with which Senator Kalwale is prosecuting this matter, it helps my ministry if it was possible that Parliament appropriate some money for purpose of that acquisition, if that passion also can be channeled to the National Assembly to look for the resources. But we know the circumstance under which we are operating, Honorable Kalwale, that we must keep certain level of fiscal discipline because of the challenges we have as a government. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Now we go, as per my directive, I want to open the next 30 minutes to the members, senators, to ask supplementary questions, especially on airports, who has a similar supplementary question, so that we tighten up this process. We ask your supplementary. Just 2 minutes, Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Speaker. Just like Senator Khalwale, I believe with great respect that the CS misunderstood the question that I asked and he answered the question, the wrong question. The question I was asking, Honorable Speaker, is if you look at the design of the terminal of JKIA, provision was made for drop-off points of passengers coming in, not the ones on the air side, Honorable CS, not the ones on the air side. You're talking about passenger boarding bridges. No, that's not what I'm asking. Provision was made for drop-off points at the terminal entrances, but those accesses were blocked. That's what I'm asking. Why is it not possible? What is the rationale? And in this house, we will insist on honesty. I want the CS to be honest to the people of Kakamega. There is no business case for an international airport in Kakamega. That's what you need to say. Say that the president lied. That is what you need to say so that we move forward. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
CS, kindly.
Mr. Speaker, I thank my learned friend, Senator of Nairobi, for the clarification. I understood you initially to be the passengers that are arriving. You mean the passengers that are traveling. Mr. Speaker, there was a security protocol that was established, particularly when we entered into agreement with the UK and the US administration to enable us to have direct flights, particularly to the New York. And part of those protocols was to ensure that we keep to dropping passengers at a reasonable distance to the terminal itself. That is why you see all that area has been blocked. You know, people are dropped a little bit far away, not very far though, but about, say, is it, if I guess, maybe 50 meters away from the veranda. But also the construction of Terminal 1A after the fire of 2014, never put into consideration the need to have a good veranda and canopy that can be able to, people can be dropped properly. So there was a design problem that happened, and we acknowledge. In fact, in the reports of KA, the discussion is how do you now remodify the existing terminals and put it on a canopy that can come way in front that will allow us then to drop people where, a place where there is shade. So that was a design issue. But there's even a more critical problem. At the main gate up there, people have to alight, then they are searched, then the car is searched before you go in. If you, 3 weeks ago, in chairing a meeting that is multi-agency at the airport, I instructed the people working on the port charter to, and the KA itself also, to work towards us getting scanners at the entrance that look like all the other parts of the world that will enable us to scan vehicles and scan everybody without really requiring anybody to alight. What has happened in other countries also is advanced passenger information is provided for before passengers come to the airport. So by the time someone, you know, what other countries have done is that they have a general data of everybody. By the time you're coming to the airport, they know who's in this car. So police only stop a certain car if they have certain suspicion. But in our case, because of the same desire to maintain our direct flights to New York, people have to alight and search. But going forward, we are thinking of how can you get scanners that can be able to check the vehicles on high speed without people being able to alight. So there are two reasons. The other one is a security related, but also the construction and design of the airport never put into consideration that very important factor. On the Kakamega, the president never lies and never lied. The point is that, and Senator Kalwale was there, it was a partnership between the national and the county government. And there are certain commitments that the county government gave. In fact, I can say this because I think I was called when the meeting was going on. The county government committed that it is easy for them to get the land, only for them to realize later that it is very costly. It will need about 400 million, which is not available in our county government. So because of that situation, the discussion that we've been having is to find out how can you fast move to 1.4 kilometers, you know, as you think about making the airport reach 2 kilometers and so forth. It is important to have aerodromes in most parts of the country. It eases communication. People going to Kakamega are now landing there. They are home on time. We want to make it a commercially viable airport that can carry at least 60, 70 people. And speaking to your governor this morning, we agreed that we should have a meeting for all the leaders to discuss both the roads and the airstrip itself. And Senator Alwale, time permitting, we should do so before the end of this year. And if there is any delay, let's do it the first week of January or the second week of January. We agree exactly what can county still be able to do. You know, many people in the county are proposing you go to that land. It's called Issue. It's near the forest, Sikusa. But again, as I've told you, I've done my homework and I've found that you will need a long process, including parliamentary approval, for you to excise a forest land to move the airport to that place. And my answer is as clear as it is. And you are always welcome to have further discussion on this issue. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mbone, I think all those answers are very comprehensive, and you know where to go for more answers. You might attend. So maybe allow me to give other senators maybe to, yes.
Speaker, Mr. Speaker, just to thank the minister for this. But Minister, the story of Shukosa, the story of acquisition of public land, I have no idea where it is coming from. Because as you know, in a meeting where the president talked to you, and he was meeting with me, he told you that the governor has found it difficult to raise 400, and could you now talk to him so that the national government will pay half and the county government will pay half. You remember the conversation. So you should be coming here telling the people of Kakamega that the national government is paying the half and the county government did the other half, and people will start moving away. But if you are choosing to treat it casually the way you are doing, Minister,
Senator Mboni,
if I don't ventilate in Parliament for the people of Kakamega, where will I speak from? From my funeral?
I know you are talking to Kakamega people now.
Yes.
But what I'm requesting you to do, the CS has requested Kakamega leadership to have a meeting.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
That is where you can converse on
yes,
these
Mr. Speaker, sir, with the respect to the people who vote for us, allow me to tell the minister that the go-round that he wants to give me with the governor, when the people are waiting to be paid, it does not require leaders to meet. We have already been to those people's homes. They have given us their consent. Their properties have been valued. Payment must be made. Minister, have you changed your mind as government on payment of these people, or are you going to pay? If you're going to pay, when are you paying? Life has to go on.
So I think, yes. Let's conclude that matter. And maybe what we can say is that your question is not satisfactorily answered. Then we have another opportunity for the CS to have that meeting.
Mr. Speaker, two things. One, again, I appreciate the passion with which Senator Kalwale, and I want to tell the people of Kakamega who are listening, your senator is extremely passionate on this issue. But, Mr. Speaker, there is another step. Every financial expenditure requires a budget. Mr. Speaker, even the 200 million, Honorable Senator Kalwale is saying, Mr. Speaker, that should be paid by us and the county is paying 200. Even that county doesn't have that 200, Mr. Speaker, to pay for the airport. It has extremely competing interest in the other infrastructural development. So what we should be doing, Mr. Speaker, is to first put our heads together as leadership to see how best can we deliver this infrastructure, how best can we ensure that the price, the cost of acquiring land is not exaggerated so that then, it becomes expensive to acquire that land. How best can Senator Kalwale use this passion on the ground, Mr. Speaker, to negotiate with the villagers who live next door and tell them to give way at a reasonable price for us to build the infrastructure. So there's room for us to have a solution. And Mr. Speaker, to remind Senator Kalwale, there is also equally a very high position in this government like myself. And so when he says you have changed my mind, I would retort the question back to Senator Kalwale, have you changed your mind also as the government on this particular issue? Because me and you are the government. We are the ones who are supposed to work together to solve this problem. And that's why I invited you, we sit down together and solve this issue. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We conclude that matter about Kakamega. Then Senator Abdul Haji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. If I want to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank the CS Rhodes for the good questions that the good answers that he's been given this House. And I also think, unlike some of the members in this House, I think the CS is one of the very few CSs who is doing a commendable job at his ministry, which is a very big docket. And considering the fiscal challenges that the country is having, he has been doing a tremendously good job. And we thank him for that. Mr. Speaker, going straight to the question, I think the CS is aware that with the current rain downfall that we've been having, the regions of Northeastern has been facing a lot of challenges in terms of the poor roads that we already have, the poor existing roads. And most of the roads have been blocked or cut off. Could the CS tell this House if the ministry has any emergency program in terms of ensuring that these roads are back to being serviceable? Because at the moment, Wajir, for example, has been airlifting food, medicine, and fuel. There's a shortage of fuel right now in most regions, most areas in Northeastern Province. And also the roads leading to Wajir, Garissa-Wajir Road, Wajir-Mandera Road, these are international trunk roads. And for the last 2 weeks, trucks have been stuck on the road. There is no food, there's no fuel, there's no medicine going over there. We have to airlift. And most of the airstrips in these regions are in a poor condition. We've been forced to seek the assistance of the military to airlift some of the foodstuff with the helicopters, but the tonnage is very small. It's not able to alleviate the problems that we're facing. So I wish the minister could address the issue of the roads in the region. And there's also a road which is very dear to me also, connecting the south of Garissa County, and that is the Boji-Masalani Road. It's a very small stretch of 5 kilometers, and it has never been repaired. And there is a bridge which was also constructed, I think, around 2008, the Masalani Bridge, which is also, which has not been maintained since, serviced or maintained since it was constructed. Could the Cabinet Secretary address this matter? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Kindly take 2 minutes maximum.
Okay, Mr. Speaker. First, I want to thank my
request, CS, these are an issue on El Nino.
Yeah.
Just give a statement that will cover all that issues on El Nino. And
I think this is to the for the benefit of Senator.
El Nino.
I think this is the benefit of Senator Abdul. I've done it earlier, so it is unanswered on all the plans we want to do and the leadership of Kenya in trying to facilitate opening up the roads in an emergency situation now for access. And therefore, Senator Abdul, I appreciate your support and also your partnership. Senator Abdul and his team, Honorable Speaker, were able to raise to us questions of marginalization of roads in the Garissa area, and we were able to address it. And I hope we addressed it in a comprehensive manner. On the question of Burchi Masalani Road, it's a very small link, Mr. Speaker, of 5 kilometers, but it has multiple structures. It needs about 1.6 billion shillings to be able to do it. We've just advertised Garissa Bridge, and we are doing it again on 1.7 billion shillings. So because of the challenges of the issues, I want to assure you, Senator, that you know that the road is complete up to Ijara from Hola. Hola to Ijara is complete. That remaining section of 5 kilometers, we're working on it to get the resources for it. And because of the importance in the Delta region and the irrigation programs we have, we are working hard to see how we can deliver that particular road. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Karungo, I know you are the chair of the committee. So what I want to do, after everything, everybody has spoken, you'll be able to summarize, because this is your committee, and maybe what you're asking maybe will be relevant when you are closing up, summing up. Yes, you are a big man in that committee. So next is Senator Kipkolil William Cheptumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to thank the CS for heavily answering the questions from this House, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, you know the CS was my former acting senator. And I recall before he left this House, when he was being removed as a majority leader, he said they will come back strong. And I think it is true, he has come back now as a CS. But Mr. Speaker, Baringo County has 3 major roads which have stalled for a while. That is the Anamoy Tenges Road, Kipsaraman, Bartabwa, Kenyech, Aror Road, and Karandi, Mochongoi, Marikat Road. And Mr. Speaker, 3 months ago, we had a session as Baringo leaders with the CS. And Mr. Speaker, at least I'm aware that Kipsaraman, Partabwa, Kenyach Road, there is now advertisement to replace the contractor, because the one that was there was not able to perform the functions of doing that road. So, Mr. Speaker, my question to the CS is, when are you, Mr. CS, going to begin because this road was stalled for reasons we all know. When is the construction of these roads going to commence? So that then we have, like Mr. Speaker, the road from Karandi all the way to Mochongoi is a very important road. It connects Baringo to Laikipia, and it has a lot of economic value. Just like the one from Tenges, I know more to Tenges, and from Kipsaraman all the way to the county where the CS comes from, the Elgeyo Marakwet. Mr. CS, when are the works beginning for these roads? I know you shared with us 3 months ago, but I would like to know on behalf of Baringo people to know when the works will begin.
Mr. Speaker, as a resident of that region, I am very familiar with the roads as raised by Senator Jeptumo, who has been very passionate about completion of these roads. Particularly, Mr. Speaker, Karandi Machongoi Marigat Road is important not just for economic connection, but tourism also and security in that area. Mr. Speaker, the contractor SBI, we've been negotiating with the contractor to see if he can come on site on an agreed fee, because as I said earlier, the amount of money sometimes we have to give to these contractors is little. So we need commitment from the contractor first before we pay them a portion of what they deserve as part of the pending bills. And so, Mr. Speaker, on that road of Karandi Machongoi Marigat, Again, I insist that as we work on the resources, we are going to return the contractor on site. He's done a good job so far, but the financial constraint is the reason why he's not there. They are in Amoy, Tenkes, and Kapkayo, Kipsaos Road. I want to inform Senator Jeptumo. I was with him 3 months ago at Kabartonjo, and I had promised that the contractor was going to be on site within 2 weeks. Unfortunately, that contractor, Honorable Jeptumo, ran away. Honorable Senator Jeptumo, the contractor, was not willing to continue working. We've had to work together to negotiate an assignment to another contractor. That negotiation is ongoing. I hope we can reach an agreement in 2 or 3 months. Unfortunately, interestingly, it's not finances that has made the contractor to run away. I think he's just having a change of mind in terms of operating within the country and wants to wind up the programs that they have so that he can move to another location. That negotiation is not going. I hope by January thereabout, the new contractor will come on site to replace the one that is exiting. On the one of Kipsaraman, Bartabwa, you have seen that we have up to Aror and up to Kapsawar. We have advertised that road, Mr. Speaker, and as soon as it closes, which I think it's closing in a week's time, I think a week, yes, an evaluation will be done and the contractor will be awarded based on the budget that we used to have with a little bit of enhancement. We are going to give a contractor who is going to be responsive. Again, when I was in Baringo with Honorable Jeptumo some 3 months ago, I promised that I was going to do that. The same thing I did in Ministry of the Counties. In Meru, we did the same for 2 roads. In Kakamega, we did again re-advertise a road. In Nandi, Mr. Speaker, we did the same for the road in Mosob in Kaiboi, and the road that comes from Kobere to Timbaroa, Mr. Speaker, in Nandi County is one of the similar roads we have advertised together. So the contracts are closing next week, and then evaluation will be done. We shall award, and I believe we shall deliver, Mr. Speaker, for the people of Baringo. I thank you.
Thank you, CS. And honorable senators, we only have 20 more minutes, so we need to be very quick with our questions so that we can be able to release the CS. Senator Olekina, and please make your question very brief, no stories behind it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ordinarily, I would not ask questions, but the matter was determined in court, and I respect the rule of law. I was listening to my good friend, former senator, and at what point I thought he had changed to become a senator when he was responding to the Honorable Majority Whip. But my question to him is very clear. Mine has to do with the road from Suswa to Ngong. Mr. Speaker, it is only 60 kilometers. That road, if you are a frequent traveler to Narok by road, you know a lot of people nowadays use choppers, so they don't really feel it. Once the Maimahio Road is clogged or there is an accident, you actually end up spending a lot of time there. You spend the whole night, you sleep there, and we lose millions of shillings. So, Mr. Speaker, my question to Waziri Murkomen, what happened to the contractor on that road? Why is it that it's only where there is a bridge, it's only where there is a culvert that is not completed? Yet the SGR started and completed when that road was still under construction. It is a very beautiful road, a very scenic road. So,
Senator,
Mr. Speaker,
please,
I want to request,
urge you to be very short.
I'm going
and
to,
brief.
in 5 seconds, I'm going to request the Honorable Murkomen to provide us with clear information on what happened to that road and to please prioritize completing that road, because it is less than 6 kilometers which is remaining for us to have an alternative road to Narok and Bomet and Kericho and everywhere else. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
CS, with your indulgence, can we take another question and then you can answer 2 questions?
Okay, yes, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Veronica Duarte.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity and welcome CS Transport, Honorable Murkomen, to this House once again. We appreciate the efforts you are doing in your department, and I can assure you your work is cut out and you will need to do more So I'm happy that you are a young person, because you'll need to put much more efforts so that we can see tangible infrastructure development in our country. CS, I want to first take up the issue of the annoyance, unnecessary annoyance and inconvenience that is being experienced in Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by passengers who are coming into Kenya, either as tourists or returning Kenyans or Kenyans traveling. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, I am wondering whether you have a stakeholders, multi-agency stakeholders coordination team that gets to process the experience, the customer experience that people are having at JKIA, because it's been awash in the social media. So many passengers have complained. I have seen students who are being ransacked in their bags looking for new items to be charged by KRA. Is that necessary, and can that be stopped? Because you are able to tell when it's a student, 19-year-old, what items do you expect to find in those bags in order to tax? Can we do things in a much more tidier way at the airport and use a multi-agency stakeholders
Senator
approach?
Veronica, I wish you would be brief with your question.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I haven't even asked the real question that I want to ask.
Please go direct to the question, please.
Let me just ask that question. The Mau Mau Road is a low-hanging fruit for your ministry, because a big percentage of that road has already been completed. There is this portion and connection that has not yet been done, Speaker, which would then connect the Kangare Gorwene Makomboki Road, which would give connection to Geturo Gatiaine, and that would effectively connect Muranga to Nyandarua County, connect to Nyeri County, and connect to the Mount Kenya region counties, Honorable CS. When do you look at, what are the projected dates for completion of this road? Why are you not taking advantage of the fact that it is almost done and can be completed and serve over 11 counties?
Chair, I understand the pressure of time, so I'll be very quick. One is that on the issue of Suswangong by Senator Lekina, my friend, I actually feel like I'm back to Senate, especially. I was assuming you are there and I'm here. So on a serious note, the connection between Ngong and Suswa is very serious. We have only 3 kilometers to go. The contractor, Zongmei, we have negotiated with them. They should be mobilizing now to go on site. So a week or so, they should go back on site. And you know that will be a connection from Suswa to Ngong to Emali. That will be a shortcut. You don't have to come all the way to Nairobi City if you are going to Machakos. And when we do, again, as I said earlier, before you came in, Jukini, Ilasin Jukini, it will now help us. You can go to Taita. And you can go also to Olili and then to Arusha. So there is room for doing that connection. It will be completed. The only thing we will do is that we'll put a way bridge, because as soon as we complete that road, the lorries will want, the trailers will want to cut a shortcut. So that will only be for passengers and smaller vehicles, so that then the trailers will continue using the normal road. On the question of Honorable, my friend, Honorable Veronica, it is true that the work is cut out for me. But this is teamwork. Teamwork in the sense that as an administration, we've come to government at a time that we have to employ a very heavy fiscal discipline. And as you do so, the sector that has suffered most is the infrastructure, a sector that was neglected from last term, you know? And so we're asking ourselves, how best can you deliver this? That's why you see the negotiation we're having with development partners and so forth. There is hope. I see light at the end of the tunnel, that in this coming financial year, we will be able to return most of our contractors on site, and we complete the 3,500 kilometers remaining of the 10,000 kilometers that were promised, that we promised the people of Kenya's Jubilee administration in 2013. I believe this administration, based on our policy, will be able to deliver the remaining balance of that road. I am tasked with that responsibility. That is why I take personal initiative to speak to some of these contractors, negotiate with them, implore them, request them to go on site. For example, I give you the example of the road of Thika Magumu. You know, I had to sit over and over again, despite the termination that was almost to Ensu, and the contractor accepted to go on site. You know, now we are past 30 kilometers of that road. Mau Mau roads, based on your question, so many of them are yet to be delivered. I want to assure you, Madam Senator Veronica, that it is in the menu of the programs that are likely to start in the next 2-3 months based on that negotiation, because most of them being delivered from our friends from the Chinese administration, Chinese government. And I think with the administration helping us, we should be able to make progress. Lastly is to say that at the airport, after that, there was for many years, there have been a clamor for airport charter that brings together all the players at the airport. The problem is that the Ministry of Transport and the KA take a beating for sometimes things that are done by the immigration officer or the tax officer, the KRA officer at the airport. Now, for us to take that responsibility fully, we need to implement the airport charter. And the draft airport charter is supposed to be presented to us by 30th this month. Thereafter, I'll sit down with my colleague, Professor Kindiki, because he's one of the main contributors there, and Professor Ndungu with KRA, immigration, and police in the area, and see how best are we going to allow KAMD to provide leadership under the airport charter, the way it happens in other airports in the world, so that you can aggregate the decisions you are going to make and have a proper channel of decision making, so that then you lay the blame where it belongs. At the moment, it is scattered to this is police, this is immigration, this is KRA, this is KA. We want to make sure that the airport itself, as the landlord and the main owner of the airport, KA, should take full responsibility when the charter is being followed. And that is not new, because at KPA, the MD of KPA takes responsibility on behalf of other agencies, because we have a port charter that gives that direction. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, CS. Senator Wambua, and please be very brief, straight to the question.
I will be straight to the question, and I wanted to stand so I can see the CS properly. These days you don't get to see a lot of them. Mr. Speaker, my question is on the Kibwezi, Athi, Mutomo, Kitui, Migwani, Bondoni Road. And this CS, my friend, sat with me in the Roads Committee in the last session. He understands that road very well. The Speaker is being economical with the truth. The Speaker, when he read the list of the inherited problems from the former administration, he included that road in that list. The truth of the matter is that the problem that we have today on that road is a problem of the Kenya Kwanza administration, because the contractor moved out of sight in November after the elections. My question to the Speaker is, when is the contractor resuming work on that road, having done more than 190 kilometers and remaining with only around 17-20 kilometers to complete the road, and the contractor has moved out of sight? When is the contractor going to be resuming work? The other difficult questions will be asked next Wednesday. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mundingi, very quickly, please.
Asante Bwana Spika, swali langu ni kuwa Embu County huwa tunalima miraa, muhoka, avocado na kahawa na majani, na tumekubali kulima kabisa. Nauliza Bwana Waziri, unafikiria namna gani juu ya kutujengea uwanja wa ndege? Kwa sababu hiyo uwanja wa ndege si ati itasaidia Embu peke yake, itasaidia Tharaka Nithi, itasaidia Kirinyaga, na pia itasaidia upande wa Meru. Kwa hiyo swali langu, utatuangalia namna gani ndio tujengee, pia hata sisi tunajivunia kukula matunda ya Kenya Kwanza kwa hii kipindi ya miaka 5. Kwa sababu unajua pale kuna uwanja wa ndege ambaye haitumiki. Tunataka kujua kama serikali ya Kenya Kwanza haina pesa, kama mnaweza kuturuhusu tutumie hiyo uwanja, kwa sababu magari mingi ya miraa inatembea na imekuwa na shinda kwa sababu ya kuwa watu. Asante Bwana Spika.
Asante. Can we take another question from Senator Kavindu?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Mr. CS, for coming. My question is about this road from Caltex, Kangundo Road, and I hope he's paying attention. There is a lot of traffic jam on Kangundo Road, and most of my people from Kangundo live in Kangundo and work in Nairobi. And once they live in Nairobi at 5 o'clock, most of them arrive at home at midnight because of traffic jam. So I'm wondering if what they are doing to finish that road, and if it can also be made to be dual, all the way from Caltex to Tala and Kangundo. Mr. CS, I also want to know the state of the road from Tala, Thika Road. And when you are counting the roads that are pending, I didn't hear you mention that road. And it was started from 2017, and it is still not finished. We need that road to be finished. If you can give me the timeline. And also I want to know about Tala.
Senator, those are too many questions.
Yeah, no, just one. Let me finish, Mr. Speaker, because you have given me the time. We are not going to call him again here tomorrow. Let me just finish. I have one. I also want to know the state of Kangundo Mwala Road, which has been just the way it is from the time of colonial to date.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Those are enough questions. Senator Tabitha, very quickly, one question. Senator, very quickly, or should we get the answers?
No, they were not giving me the mic. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Waziri, I really want to congratulate you and appreciate the great work that you are doing. Do not be intimidated by some of the negative sentiments. I just want to ask a very simple question as a Nairobi delegate. International Airport, JKIA, we saw what had been happening. We just want you to tell us what are the plans in terms of the repairs, what are the timelines, if you've formed a committee, what is the strategy and the time that is required. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You're welcome, but that question was addressed. CS, please, very briefly.
First, Mr. Speaker, Senator Kyo, I don't know where he was here. Oh, sorry. Okay, you are still on your seat. Thank you, leader. I didn't mention that road, but now that he mentioned, I think he's the one who is economical with the truth. I didn't use that as an example, but it's a good example of one of the roads that I've stalled for many years. That road was awarded in 2018. It was supposed to end in 2021. The Speaker, 2021 is not Kenya Kwanza administration. But, Mr. Speaker, the good news is that the road is 91% done, and therefore the remaining balance is going to be addressed. Unlike many roads that I mentioned earlier, I used as example, which have only 3%, 5%, less than 30% of completion, at least Kibwezi Road is fairly done. What I was expecting from Senator Wambua is the question of compensation. I used that road earlier as an example of citizens who are responsible, who let go the space for us to construct the road awaiting compensation. And as I said, National Land Commission is working on the process so that we can be able to compensate and know exactly whom we compensate. As unfortunately, these procedures we put in our law make it, create inordinate delay in some of these issues. The Tala-Thika road, I think it was a proposal. It hadn't started. If you mean the road of what we call the Greater Eastern Bypass, the one from Tala all the way to Thika. Mr. Speaker, that road, we signed a memo with memorandum with some Chinese contractor as to working together to get resources to make sure that we create Greater Eastern Bypass, which comes from Tala all the way to Thika itself. On the question of Kangundo Mwala Road, Yes, it's been pending for long. I know you have asked me this before, and the MPs have asked me before. Again, because we have to award it as a new contract, we just need to be patient, a little bit patient, to make sure that we get the resources to be able to do so. Lastly, last is Senator Mundigi has asked the question of the airport. I'm sure you are with me. We sat together with you and all the counties. The Embu airstrip is not viable for an airport that can carry goods or fly cargo from Embu. You know that there's no land to extend. You have lived around all place. The topography does not allow the same. The good news is that Embu itself is closer to JKIA. And I think that is not biggest of our challenges. The biggest of our challenges is to make sure that we have either road or rail connectivity that can now bring the goods to rail. By the way, Senator Mundiki, just to mention the House, the world is moving away from using aeroplanes to carry cargo. And now we are, even for perishable goods, we are working on providing what's called cool logistics, so that cool containers are provided for transporting perishable goods, including flowers, by sea, which is now under customer preference in Europe. It is the in thing as one way of combating climate change. So the question should be focused on how do you evacuate the goods from last mile to the connectivity to either the railway or the airport without necessarily having to build an airport where you cannot be able to build an airport. The last thing is on the JKIA. I want to repeat this from Senator Tabitha, that the grand plans is to build a new terminal. And that is my focus. I am very, very clear in my mind. I'm very focused that in the next 3 years, we need to deliver brand new airport. That will be a signature project for this administration to turn around. We can't have built an airport that is older than myself in 1978. I want to be a partaker of President William Ruto's administration's grand plan to give us something new, fresh, that I am very confident and clear in my mind that by the year 2026, 2027, we should be singing of a new airport. That's why I worked very hard with our team and guided by the president to make sure that we resolve the case that was there in the Greenfield to create the space for us to attract the PPP contractor to do this job. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, CS. Honorable Senators, at this point, we will not take any, because of time, and the previous speaker had mentioned that the last question will go to the Chair of Transport. So at this point, since we have to complete with this session of questions, I will allow on this side Senator Mazzayo to ask a question, and then the Senator Chair Transport to finish with the last question. We don't have any time. I extended, Senators, I extended by another half hour, but the problem we are having, Senators, is that questions are taking too long to ask. Senators are taking too long to answer. So, Senator Mazzayo. Yes, Senator Kavindo.
And the reason why he didn't answer, I know, he didn't hear it properly because he was communicating with his people when I was asking about the Caltex Umoja Kangundo Road. This Kangundo Road, there is a lot of jam there, and people are getting stuck there up to midnight.
He will answer with the other questions. Senator Mazzayo, very quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have one question for the CS. When is the Malindi Airport going to be expanded? That's the question.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Chair Transport, Cherargei, you cannot have a point of order on the chair. There's no point of order on the chair. A lot of people have been sitting here from 9. Senator Cherargei, I understand your frustration. Chair Transport. Let him ask the question, then we'll come back to you. We will come back to you, Senator Cherargei. We'll come back to you. We'll come back. Senator.
Mr. Speaker, I believe if I'm given the opportunity, then Senator Cherargei.
Approach the chair. Cherargei, approach the chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, did I hear the CS say that Embu is close to JKIA? I think that was... Anyway, Mr. Speaker, if you look at those people who ask questions, and as the chairman, Roads, Transportation and Housing, I have noted that almost every member of my committee asked a question. And that is to tell probably the department and my committee there is a little bit of disconnect. But, Mr. Speaker, the remedy for that, the committee understand that the CS is a busy person. So the committee made a resolution, Mr. Speaker, that before we invite the CS, we'll be inviting his government agencies, the KERA, the KURA, the KENHA. Yesterday we had NTSA, so that once we understand what they're doing, we'll be able now to be going to the CS himself. Mr. Speaker, it is my commitment as the Chairman, Roads and Transportation, before I ask my question, that I will follow up on everything that has been said here today, Mr. Speaker.
And Senator, please be very brief.
Yes,
Go straight to the question.
As the Chair, give me a few minutes. Everything that has been mentioned here today, the Kakamega airports, the roads in Kirinyaga, Tharaka-Nithi, roads in Kajiado, roads in Kiambu. The reason I don't have so many questions is because we meet with the CS more often. And Mr. Speaker, Jomo Kenyatta Airport, the El Nino issues, and Narok. My question now, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's about compensation. The people of Wangigi, the people of Getaru, the people of Kabete constituency, since 2018, they have not been compensated when they gave their land for the construction of the Western Bypass. We have been trespassing on people's land. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want the CS to tell us when they are going to be paid, and I also propose when they are paid, they should be paid in the current market rate, not the one that was evaluated in 2018. So, Waziri, you can respond to that. Mr. Speaker, I'm done. Or I can continue. Mr. Speaker,
Senator, please, you've already asked your question. Can we have the CS answer?
Mr. Speaker, on the Kangundo Road, I understood. Thank you, Senator Agnes. The Kangundo Road requires dualling. I understand what you meant. The congestion in Kangundo Road is making it impossible for those of you who operate from Machakos to come to work. Mr. Speaker, that discussion is ongoing on dualling that road. It requires significant resources, but we are now at the design stage. Hopefully that design will lead to the proper construction. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is that on the Malindi Airport, you know the question, leader, you know the question of the squatters that we are dealing with. That negotiation is ongoing to see how the squatters can be compensated before that can be sorted out.
Let the questions be answered first. Let the CS answer the question. Is in the process. Let the CS answer. One moment, CS. What is, you cannot raise point of order. Let him finish the question, then you can rise.
Mr. Speaker, on the question of Tala Oldonyo Sabuk Road, it's an ongoing contract, Mr. Speaker, that connects Tala to Thika Road. It is 40% complete. This connects Majakos to the Karisa Road, and it was awarded in 2020 for a contract sum of 1.4.
Yes, one moment, please. Cherargei, at this point, I will have to find you out of order. And I'm not trying. This is not a funeral. Okay. Senator Cherargei, I've actually shown you the dashboard.
Why don't you give him?
So, Senator Cherargei, at this point, I will have to ask you to leave the House. Please leave the House. Please leave the House so that we can continue with the business. Senator Cherargei, we've heard you. Please leave the House. CS, my apology, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, I left this House maintaining very high level of dignity. And I think that should be kept because we really trust and treasure you as a leadership. And we appreciate your work you're doing. Mr. Speaker, so I was answering, I know there is my colleague, Senator C.S. Ababu, so, and I have taken so much of the time, Mr. Speaker. On the road of Garissa, I said that the Tala Oldanyosabuk road is ongoing. It's 40%. It suffers the same fate with other roads in the country. 40% of the road is complete. It has a pending bill. It was awarded in 2020. We are working also together to make sure that that is completed. I think, Mr. Speaker, I don't have any other. On the question of my chair, the chair of the committee, Senator Karungo, you should be helping me to make sure that people don't exaggerate the compensation they need. It's just to become prompt and adequate so that we don't have problems where projects are pending forever. We should borrow from the example of Senator Wambua and a few places in the Mau Mau routes where people allowed us to complete the road as we work on the compensation, which I think it includes the road you are talking about. We will make sure that we compensate the citizens because we are enjoying the benefit of the road that is herein constructed. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Bwana CS. At this point, we have concluded the question time. CS, I want to thank you for your time and for the answers that you've given to the House, and to wish you all the best in your work. I think I will not add too much on that. We wish you were still in this House, but we also are happy where you are right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana CS.
I thank you.
Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon, visiting delegation of lecturers